Welcome friends to this second day of our 3-day event in Besalu, Spain. I'm very happy to see all of you again. It's always a great joy for me to do seva to my master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Saban Singh Ji, and to share his teachings with you. Yesterday, I gave you some basics about his teachings, and I said there is a shortcut I will tell you today. The shortcut is that if we have to find our own self at the end of the spiritual journey, why not do something that our own self pulls us back to ourselves? We have identified ourselves with the covers upon ourselves. We have 3 covers. The causal body, which is the mind. The thinking mind is the causal body. There's no other body. The astral body, which is sense perceptions. Nothing else than sense perceptions. Some people have the idea that there are different shapes of bodies inside. Not at all. And the physical body, the 3rd cover. We are, as souls, as units of consciousness, as part of the ultimate supreme being, we are consciousness per se. And the power of consciousness to become conscious of anything it wants to is the real secret of this whole creation. We identify ourselves with these covers, which we're wearing like clothes, like costumes. We first of all, as human beings in a human body, identify ourselves with the physical body. When you are called by your name, you answer, the whole of you answers, including your soul, your mind, your senses, and your body. You have put yourself in a position that you are really the body with other functions being performed of perception, sense perceptions, thinking, and intuitive feelings and feelings of love. These are coming from 3 different levels of our own self. Intuitive feelings, intuitive knowledge, and love comes from the spirit, from the soul, directly. Whether it's happening there or here. Thinking takes place at the causal self in the mind. Whether it's a mind in the causal plane, mind in the astral plane, or mind in the physical plane. It's the same mind. The sense perceptions are taking place in the astral self and also the physical self. All these things are operating simultaneously. But we identify ourselves with these covers. It's very difficult to go even 1 or 2 levels beyond this. And that is why we are trapped into thinking we are terrible human beings with bad karma. Where is karma coming from? In the mind. And where are the desires for sense perceptions which attach us to people here coming from? The astral self, the sense perceptions. Let me tell you the difference between these 3 covers upon ourselves. The outside cover, the physical body, is made up of matter, molecules and atoms. Any definition of matter applies to it. If you have a cover of a physical body or a material body, you can only experience a material world. You're shut off from everything else. You put it out like blinders. You put blinders of a physical body, so we cannot experience anything other than a material world, which then becomes the only reality for us. And we, as I was explaining yesterday, we define reality as that which can be verified by the sense perceptions. I explained yesterday about the water and the glass. I said, this water is real. Why? I've just touched this cold. I can take a sip of it. Very tasty. That means I have an experience of holding a cup of water. And I saw the water inside. And I tasted it with my mouth. Sense perceptions have confirmed it is solid, it's real. That's how we confirm our reality, that this is all real. Now, I gave an example. Let's go back to a dream state. I am dreaming. In the dream, I also see the water. In the dream, I also see a cup of water exactly like this. I take a sip of the water in the dream. It tastes the same. And I hold the water, it is solid the same. My experience of having a sip of the water in the dream and my experience of having a sip of the water in wakeful state is the same. But when I wake up from a dream, I see I had an experience of drinking water from a glass, but the glass was not there. We woke up, the glass disappeared, the water disappeared, but the experience remained. Then we realized it was experience of holding the glass and sipping the water that created the reality of a dream that the glass was real. The same thing is true here. And this experience is being created, and we are judging it by the same method we do it in a dream. In a dream, I can also ask this same question. Is the glass real? Then I'll ask many people there. If 20 people are there in my dream, I'll say, is this glass real or not? Somebody is saying it's not real, it's illusion. Of course it's real. Touch it and drink. And I'll touch it and drink, it's real. Experience is always real. Always, all experience. Because we are having it. Nobody can deny it. But the conclusion we come to that because we have an experience, the objects of experience are also real, that is the illusion. Things are not illusion. Experience is not illusion. The illusion is that from an experience we jump to the conclusion that the objects that are created by that experience are also real. When we wake up, the objects disappear, people disappear, everything disappears, experience remains as a memory. So that is why this body that we wear is creating its own method of generating a sense of reality. Also, when we wake up, dream disappears and this becomes our only reality. When we are in a dream state, that is the only reality. We don't know where we are sleeping. We don't know what is happening to the body. Although body is connected with the dream. I mentioned yesterday about the rapid eye movements they saw in sleep. The body is active. They've taken pictures of the body. You're going through a storm in the dream and the body is moving as if it is in a storm. It's tossing in the bed. So there is a connection between the wakeful state of the body and the dream, but our awareness is only concentrating on the dream and not aware of what is happening to the body. It's the same thing is true of the physical experience we are having here, that we think it's real because the experience is real. And we think people, objects, world, all is real. If we wake up to a higher level of awareness, which merely means becoming unaware of this body. We don't go, we call it higher, I don't think that's the appropriate word. There's nothing higher or lower. These are all going within yourself. To become unaware of the outer cover, and that will automatically open up what is inside. It's like taking off your jacket and know you are wearing a shirt. It's like that. So, if we, by the practice of withdrawal of attention, which I mentioned in detail yesterday, if we practice withdrawal of attention, not focusing of attention, but withdrawal of attention, we can gradually become unaware of the body, which is the same experience we have when the body dies. If you have seen people dying, I have seen many people in their terminal stages, dying in hospitals. I've seen them just before their death. And what happens to them? First, they don't know where their feet and arms are, hands are. They say, move my arm here, move my head here. It's already there. They become unaware. Then they become unaware of the bottom of their body. Then they become unaware of the rest. They're still speaking. And when it goes right up to the beyond the neck up, they don't know if they have a body. And eventually, something opens up. When you see the accounts of people who have recovered from near-death experiences, They say they saw another world. They saw rays of light. They saw people in white clothes. They saw people with old beards. They saw some of their old dead, demised relatives. So this means that there is something that opens up. Meditation, by withdrawing attention, creates the same experience which you will have at the time of actual death of the physical body. And that is why we can have that experience of what happens at the time of death while we are still alive, by practice of meditation, by withdrawing attention to, I explained clearly, the third eye center from where we are operating as conscious units in physical body. The physical body, we are spreading our attention from behind the eyes, between the ears, at the third eye center. We are spreading our attention first of all in the body, and through the body and sense perception and mind, we're doing it all over the world. We're creating an experience of the whole world. Withdrawal of attention has to take place to that point from where we are spreading our attention. When we withdraw attention there, we become unaware of our body, and it opens up immediately, the inner body. If you want to have an experience of the inner body without doing this, with the full consciousness of your physical body, you can do that too. You can imagine that you are in the head at the third eye center. Now when you are imagining, you are automatically separating yourself from this physical body. You are thinking you are in the head. I mentioned yesterday, don't focus on an image of yourself. No, you are there. What are you doing there? Close your eyes and say, what am I doing here? You can sit on a chair. In our meditation practice, we do a lot of exercises inside. And if you are withdrawing attention and seating yourself inside, you can dance, jump, fly with your imagination. Where does it come from? Which body is that? Have you ever noticed that even if you close your eyes, even if you cover them with black wrapping paper, even if you plug your ears, don't have any contact outside, you can still imagine all those things. In the meditation workshop, I even tell them, have you seen an electric switch? When you move it up, the light goes up. When you move it down, the light goes down. You create that switch inside. With the body, just as that exercise, you can generate so much light with that switch you never seen outside. This can be done even in the earliest part of our meditation. We can examine that there is something else. We have been calling it imaginative. But there is something in us which has the power to see, touch, taste, smell, all the sense perceptions that imaginative self has. In fact, that is the astral body. Astral body is nothing more than the removal of matter from ourselves. And the rest, the sense perceptions, remain intact, and they can do all that they do in the physical body and do them much better. Therefore, it's a matter of discovering the covers upon yourself. You can go further and meditate on the inner body, not this body. You have to become unaware of this and be conscious and do the same kind of meditation with the inner body. You can even start with an imaginative body. See the same kind of withdrawal of attention by putting yourself at the third eye center of the inner body, not this one, because this one you are not aware of. When you do that, you open up the next level, which is the causal plane, and you will discover sense perceptions are no longer needed, that you can have the same full perceptions with the causal body, which is the mind. Now, mind and causal body are the same. And what do? The mind thinks. It's a thinking machine. Very interesting, very good. One of the best gifts given to us, that we have a machine inside installed on ourselves as the first cover, and that can think, rationalize, make sense, make us understand things, and make sense of sense perceptions. Did you know that if we see something and we give it a name, I'm looking at once again at this glass and this water. How did I know it's glass and water? Eyes didn't see that. Eyes saw a whitish kind of shape and some liquid in it. How did it become ice and water? The mind made it. Sense perceptions have no value unless the mind interprets it. Therefore, the mind is performing a very great function. The mind is performing a function of interpreting our sense perceptions for us and is also helping us to decide what to think about. As I said yesterday, the main qualification to find a perfect living master, to find the true home, is to seek within yourself. Seek and you will find. Seeking is the secret. How do you seek? With the help of the same mind. The same mind brings thoughts to you. The same mind says, I understand it. The same mind says, yes. And the mind doesn't know that by doing that, it's losing its own existence. When it finds that out, then it becomes an obstacle to seeking. The seeking is not coming from the mind. Mind is only interpreting it just like it interprets sense perceptions. So the thinking mind, it also is programmed, very well programmed, to create many things. And what I'm going to tell you now, you can verify yourself by meditating up to that stage. 2 steps. Become unaware of the body through meditation. Become unaware of your internal body through meditation. And when you discover you are the mind, and that is yourself. What is giving life to the mind is your soul, yourself. Consciousness is making it alive. When you discover there what the mind is doing, will completely amaze you. The mind is creating all the experiences you are having right now. The mind is creating your destinies. The mind is coming from itself, another mind which is called the universal mind. Just like the soul is just a unit of totality of consciousness and not separated like a drop of ocean in the ocean. Our minds are also part of one mind. It's just a copy. It's a copy. In this 3-dimensional world, we have a copy. In space and time, we have just a copy from the original. That the mind also has a universal mind, and what does it do? It creates separation to become individual. It creates a series of experiences which can be generated, which are called destinies. What we call pralabdha. We have been born with a destiny. Where was the destiny when we came first time? We had no past life. Destinies have to be created by past lives. So the mind creates destinies with past lives, destinies with future lives. All we as souls do is for the sake of experience, for the sake of temporary experience. We pick up one of those destinies and we are here. When we pick up one destiny, it is justified here and in the astral plane by the previous births, previous lives. We never lived them. But it's part of the memory of ours. As I explained yesterday, time doesn't exist as we know it. It's all memory being recalled. We are creating those memories right in the astral plane through the mind. And it creates a set of past lives, one life and future life when we first come. But then when we start enjoying the life here or we go to the reality of this life, we keep on making the future lives a reality we go through. It's an interesting development, all happening at the causal plane. All of this can be verified. Not only that, it is then using those destinies as something you can pick up. I give the example of DVD, playing a DVD which is pre-recorded. Lives are completely pre-recorded there. Past, present, future, past lives, present life, future life, all pre-recorded. We pick up one. The only real choice the soul makes at that time. After that, there's hardly any known choice that we make. It's all part of that choice we have already pre-programmed. All future choices we will make as human beings are pre-programmed and picked up by us at that time. Some people call that collection of destinies as the Akashic records. They say there's records in the Akash. They talk of the causal sky, that golden sky. That in the golden sky are stacked all kinds of lives that can ever be created. All kinds of permutation, combination of different types of lives that can be created, human life. And added to that are all other forms of life, 8.4 million types of species of life are all created in one go at that time. Then what does the mind do? Mind then creates time and space to place those events on that format. Time and space is created in one go. And those events, which are part of the records, is placed on time and space. When it will happen, where it will happen. And those are all placed there at one go. Then we come to this cover of sense perceptions and we start moving on that time and space line which has been created and move from one event to another event. And that gives us the feeling time is flowing. That's how we feel. And I said yesterday, it's all past. Nothing is flowing. It's all created at one go. We are living through a memory in such a way, it looks like an extension, a projection right now. If we go to a movie and see a movie on the screen, our attention is on the movie. We don't know that that's just a flat screen with shadows on it. We take it real. People are moving there. And we, if it's a monstrous horror movie, we get frightened. Something bad happens, we move in our chairs in the audience. We take it as so real. And if we were to say, how is it taking place? We'll say there's nothing on the screen at all. It's just a white screen. The shadows are being created by something behind us. And nobody looks behind when we watch a movie. If we look behind, we'll see there's a projector behind us. And the film that is being played has been preloaded. The future of the events that are being watched on the movie are already there. Nothing new is happening, but we think, now what will happen next? Let's watch. And we realize that if the movie was preloaded in the projector, there was no light. If the light fails, there will be no projection. Now compare this with our life. If the light of the soul, which creates life, light of the soul, creating life, did not pass through the events created by the mind and were not projected into a multi-dimensional screen here, we would never see this world. It is exactly the same. But we are absorbed in the world here and not bothered about what is happening behind us or inside us. It's the same thing here. And we constantly think, maybe something is going to happen. We hope this will not happen. We take it so real. Why do we do it? An answer was given to that question long ago by a Greek philosopher, Aristotle, a follower of Socrates and Plato. Aristotle said that we love drama on the stage. There were no movies then. We love drama on the stage. We take it as real. At that time, we don't remember it's not real. And he called it that it's a deliberate suppression of disbelief, a willing suppression of disbelief. That we deliberately cut off our disbelief and we think it's believable. Why do we do it? According to Aristotle, we do it because we are so full up of emotions of our own. When we see a drama is depicting our life in a different way. We identify with those characters, and therefore it's a kind of a release. He called it the purgation of emotions. In an essay, he writes about how our emotions are purged by watching drama. We cry, we laugh, as if it is all real. Knowing well, and we suppress that knowledge, it's happening like this. We are doing the same thing here. Of course, his master Plato, Socrates, gave a different answer. Socrates, interpreted by Plato, said, we are taking this as real because we don't know where it's coming from behind, And we don't know that what is it coming from is more real than this. He couldn't use too many words. He said, the world of ideas is more real than the physical world. That if there were no idea, there would be no physical world. Philosophers asked him, interpret, how can ideas be more real? Ideas are created by the mind. How can ideas be more real than what we are seeing here? And he explained. He explained, here we are sitting on chairs. Where did the idea of a chair come from? Somebody had an idea. Not only an idea, somebody had a concept that we can sit higher than the ground floor. Just a concept. An idea came, we can make something higher and build it. The idea of a chair came once. The concept we can sit above came once. We have made thousands and millions of chairs today of different sizes, shapes with that single idea. The idea came prior to anything that could have happened or made by us here. So he explains in very material terms that unless you have a concept which takes place in the causal plane, in the mind, unless we can think of something that can be made which happens in the astral plane, in the plane of sense perceptions, you cannot have anything here. But he is trying to explain something that a single idea can create all the chairs of the universe. A single idea of a human being having this shape can create all the human beings of the universe. A single idea can create everything. This is, Socrates was very keen, people should go within and find out. Plato was trying to interpret intellectually something. And Aristotle was trying to give an answer deep down to the ground. He says people don't understand what you are saying, but I can explain down to the ground. It's our emotions that have to be taken care of. Therefore we love drama. Therefore we cry. Therefore we take it as real. That is why we suppress our disbelief of things which should have been normal to disbelieve. It's not real, but we take it as real. It's very interesting that we can be so fascinated. Some people go several times to a movie to see it. They don't take it as unreal. They enjoy it. I remember a story about an Indian boy in a village, never seen a movie. His friends took him to a movie in the city. In that movie, there is a girl who comes to have a bath in a pond, and she takes off her clothes and jumps in the pond, but before she takes the clothes, as she's taking off the clothes, a train comes in front. And they can't see the nude body, and she jumps in the water. When the train passes, she's already in the water. That boy 20 times to see the movie, hoping one day the train will be late. We are living our life like that too. We are just thinking that our experience, maybe it's repeated in a different way. No way. You can see, if you go back in your life, you come back, you come with the same awareness, same consciousness. When we say everything is predetermined at the Akashic records, at the causal plane, it does not mean that outside events are predetermined. Our thinking, how we make our choices, how we decide. No, I have to decide whether I go left or right. No, I have decided, I'll go right. You can see it pre-written millions of years earlier. But we think because we have gone through the experience of making a choice now, it must be a real choice. This is the beauty of an experience in the physical world, that we can make a choice. At least the experience of making a choice. I took the water and it became real. My experience of drinking the water became real. My make a choice to pick the water became real. And if I had gone there, the whole process of my thinking, choosing was pre-written. So that is why, what is the advantage? Why have we been given this unique feature that actually is pre-written and we think we are making choices now, which is called free will? That we have an experience of free will when there is no real free will, is predetermined. Then why are we having an experience of free will where it's not real? First of all, we are having that experience of free will, and it is as real as everything else. If we are taking each other as real, if we are taking this world as real, the free will is real. It's at the same level. If this becomes unreal, free will becomes unreal. If you go to the causal plane, not only free will becomes unreal, this physical body, the physical universe becomes unreal. We try to think that free will is maybe real or not real. If it's not real, why are we trying to be bothered? Why is karma being created? Why, if free will is not real, why are we being punished for decisions we make which are considered evil? Answer simple. The free will is as real as the rest of the system. If you go above the mind, which is your true place, which is your true form, the soul, there is no karma, there is no free will, there is nothing of the sort, which is only created for here. Why should this unique experience of a human being, no other form of life, no other species of life, has this ability to choose by deliberation? They choose instinctively. Dogs, cats, they are all instinctively knowing what is best for them, survival is the best for them, all pre-programmed. How come angels, gods being worshipped by people, why are they not having this free will? They have knowledge. They know everything and they go with the flow. Plants, insects, birds, none of them are deliberating in their head, should I do this or should I do that? Only one species out of 8.4 billion human beings. Why has this been given? So that out of this experience of free will, not real free will, experience of free will, we can become seekers and seek a way out of the whole system. The best gift. How does it operate? By cutting out our knowledge of the future. We do not know what can happen tomorrow. We plan, things change. We do not have a certain knowledge, absolute knowledge of what will happen in the future. This ignorance is bliss. This ignorance is creating the feeling that we decide. Otherwise, we would be knowing that we are going to decide this way, it will happen that way. In any case, there will be no free will. So this free will has been created so as a means of providing an escape route from this whole system, from the entire creation of the three worlds. This single free will experience in a human being is being provided to us so that we can seek with it. Seeking can only take place if you have a choice. That is why I said the secret of finding your true home is seeking in a human form, no other form. They're great. God, angels, rulers, disembodied spirits living in astral planes, whom you can go and see in your own meditation, all wanting to come back into a human form. We think they are gone very high, ascended, flying, and they are all seeking to become human so they can have free will to seek and find the way. What happens when you seek? If everything is predetermined, seeking must also be predetermined. Of course it is. When you seek, it's predetermined. What events are connected? When I said events are placed on time and space to create cause and effect. That's the beauty of this experience. Very nice. Three worlds created based on a principle of cause and effect, how they were placed on the time-space continuum. They were placed by this. One event is a cause, another event. Effect. Effect becomes cause. So this is called the law of karma. Law of karma is nothing more than a principle of cause and effect. But then we add to it something, it is good, this is bad. That's essential part of this scheme. The scheme of karma says you will make a choice and you will decide what is good, what is bad. When the moral side comes up, which is built into it, Immanuel Kant, German philosopher, in one of his treatises writes about the mind, that mind is nothing but this ability to choose and create a moral situation, which one to choose, right or wrong. This right and wrong is built into the system of karma. When we do good, rewarded. When we do bad, punished. A very good trap for us, so that we think by doing good we'll escape from here. No, you'll be rewarded for here. We do bad, we'll be punished, but you'll still be here. The system makes us recirculate in these life forms forever. There's nothing we can do with the mind, believing this world to be real, which can take us out. That is why when we seek, what happens? When we seek, a pre-arrangement thing happens. A pre-arranged thing happens, which we pre-arranged when we picked up our destiny for the first time from the mind. The pre-arranged thing is when we seek, and we only seek when we are tired of this. When we say, this is not my home, I am done, I don't want to be here anymore, then you seek, and a pre-arranged thing comes that a human being appears in your life, whom we call a perfect living master, who is conscious of all levels of awareness at all times, and that's the time he accepts you and takes you back, prearranged. Even this is prearranged. But the time comes, the events come in such a way that you feel, I had those good and bad experiences, now I'm tired of it, now I'm seeking something, I found something. We never find it. It's prearranged. It comes, it happens. A perfect living master appears in our life when we are ready to go back to our true home. If we are ready to go to intermediate stages, then we only go to intermediate stages. If our desire is to go to heaven, take us to heaven. Heaven is in the astral plane. All heavens are in the astral plane. No heaven is beyond that. All hells are there. We can be punished into hell. We can go there. There was one Bibi, one of the ladies who was serving Great Master in the Dera, and she had a bad experience once. We were her neighbors. She lived in a small little hut, and we had a house next to her. So one day, she was howling. We heard her crying inside the hut. We all went. We broke open the door to see if what has happened. She was howling and screaming and wouldn't listen to anybody. So we went back to Great Master. His house was a little separate. And he came. He came to see. He said, Bibi, what's happening? Only his voice he could hear. She said, I am in hell. What is happening? They are torturing people in a way I can't bear to see. And she described the description of great tortures actually taking place on the astral forms, on the disembodied forms of beings. And Great Master said, why don't you repeat the 5 words I gave you? You get out. I've forgotten the words. It's so terrible here. And he said, are they hurting you? No, nobody is hurting me. Then why are you crying so much? I can't bear to see what is happening. He said, can you hear my voice? Yes, come follow my voice. Then she opened her eyes and she put her head on its feet and said, that was a bad experience. We people were just around there to see this strange drama going on. Then he addressed us. He says, sometimes the curiosity of a person can take you into certain negative experiences on the astral plane. Never go there unguided. Always have the guidance of your master with you. A perfect living master initiates us. He places himself inside us and his company is available. Go with master. He will avoid all these kind of experiences. We are making hell even in this world here. Why do we have another hell to experience? That is why I am just mentioning that these are experiences all being generated from the astral plane. And we can have negative experiences there too. So it's always good to have good guidance when you have meditational experiences. Now, why did I bring you all this information back to you today? To tell you this is a very hard, long way to go inside. To go from one level to another, meditate hard to become unaware of your body, and then struggle hard to go to the inner body, which is even more difficult. I have seen many of my friends initiated 40, 50 years meditating with the same body, never realizing that this body and meditation cannot take you beyond the inner first level. They can't go to second level. If they are meditating in this body, they have to meditate in the inner body. Simple things like that. Why are we doing all this such a struggle when a simpler shortcut is available? And what's the shortcut? Why not be pulled by your own true self, which is sitting behind the eyes? It is doing something which can pull us. What is it doing? It's radiating a sound. I mentioned yesterday also, and I'll repeat, that all religions of the world have mentioned the sound of the self in different ways. In the Bible, the Holy Bible, John's Gospel starts with these verses, the very first verses. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He's put the Word before God and said they are the same. The creative power that created everything. And then the next verses are that everything was created by Him, it capital Word, and nothing was created that was not created by Him. All inclusive. No exception. Everything came from the Word. Hindu literature, the Rig Veda, that deals with the spiritual side of life, out of 4 Vedas, says, in the beginning there was a nod, the sound. And all things were made by the nod. Almost a translation in Sanskrit of the same thing. And nothing was made without the sound. In the Islam, they talk of the real secret of not the bang or the call of the Maulvi in the mosque, but the bang-e-asmani. The sound that comes from the sky and calls you. Some have referred to the music of the spheres. In Shri Guru Granth Sahib of the Sikh scriptures, it says, they're using the word shabd, which means sound also. Word, it can be spoken, it can be sung, it can be a sound. Shabd-e-dharti, Shabd-e-akash. This world is shabd, this skies. It details all the things that shabds can make, and at the end it says, Shabd-e-shabd hua prakash. Even shabd was made by shabd. Why? How come they are using these words, which means sound? How come sound can be reality? We hear sound, I'm speaking to you in sound. We hear music in sound. We hear sound all the time. How can that be the reality? How can that be the creative power? And why have they called it sound? Could they not have called it creative power or use some other word? If that is the secret? No. The secret is this, that the creative power, the ultimate power, ultimate totality of consciousness comes through all these levels of creation, all these covers of our own covers of physical, astral, causal, spiritual, all these covers, that word that comes down right up to us, to the point where we are human beings and can seek in the form of sound, which we can hear. Very amazing that it should be a sound coming from where? Coming from the self, coming from the inner self, coming from the higher self, coming from the total self, coming from the Creator. Why would we not call it sound? If there is something emanating from the self, right from the top, and is not at all disconnected at all. Experiences are all disconnected. We go to sleep, we forget this experience and go into a dream state. We wake up, different state. Astral plane, we forget this is unreal, that becomes real. Go to higher plane, that's real, this is, everything is unreal. The sound does not stop. This sound continues all the way up. So that is why it looks like sound here. It is not sound there. But we have to call it sound because at the point where we are sitting as seekers, it is a sound. We can hear it. Where do we hear it? Third eye center, behind the eyes. Same place, which I'm always mentioning to you. That's where we can hear it. How do we hear it? Putting attention there. So we can either keep on meditating hard to go unawareness of the body or listen to the sound. And if it is coming from our own self, it pulls you back to itself. There is no greater pull that you can experience leading to rapid unawareness of the covers than the listening to the sound. That's why I call it a shortcut. Now this is why the teaching of great master Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh, the teaching has been called Surt Shabd Yoga. Surt Shabd Yoga means Surt attention, Shabd sound, Yoga union with the total real self. Surt Shabd Yoga is based upon this principle that you can directly hear the sound inside you. That sound is there all the time. It's lifeline. It's the soul. It's the real lifeline coming and expressing itself like a sound. We cannot make any progress on the spiritual path without sound. Let me take an example. I am talking to you in my voice, which is sound. I'm making words out of that sound and conveying a message. If you are seeking, you are impressed, there is a way out. You're seekers, and this sound of mine that I'm speaking in words makes you understand it. Language. This is called a sound that can be spoken and written, and we call it in our vernacular in Indian languages Varanatmak sound, Varanatmak Shabd. Varanatmak Shabd means that which can be spoken, can be written. So, it is sound to start with. Then we come to the third eye center and put our attention there. We are still using sound of our own repetition of the Simran or the mantra that we've been given. Same sound. We're listening to the sound there. We listen to the sound of words here. We listen to the sound of our own repetition inside. That's also sound. Then, from the repetition of the words, we begin to hear the sound of the self. As I explained, there are many sounds inside of different types, but when we hear the sound from the center and above, that is the sound of the self. It pulls you, makes you feel you are being taken off your ground. That sound, we listen again, and that sound is not written and not spoken, it's a sound. So we call it not Varanatmak Shabd, but Dhun Atmak Shabd. Dhun means a sound, not written. So Varanatmak Shabd leads us to Dhunatmak Shabd, which is the sound coming from the self. When we withdraw our attention further and can take it to beyond the astral plane, which opens up with the Dhunatmak Shabd, we come to a stage where with the golden sky of the astral plane, we are also hearing a sound which is different from this sound. It is like a continuous sound, unbroken. It is sound that we were always there. We don't feel we just started listening. Every other sound has a beginning. That sound has no beginning. And when we go there, it looks we have always been listening to the sound. And that is what was creating the other sounds. That it is not new. That is why it has been now changed from Dhunatmak Shabd to Anhad Shabd. Anhad means with no boundaries, no beginning. It's an actual experience. An experience which we may not fully understand, that you can go into an experience and know you were hearing it all the time. And that's how everything was happening. That experience on the causal plane. That's the Anhad Shabd. No amount of effort of any kind, not even our capacity to listen, can take us beyond that. I'm sorry to say that we do as seekers make efforts. And effort is made by the mind. Effort is made by a will, mental will. I want to do it. And we make the hardest effort and reach the topmost part of the mind, the causal plane, and you cannot use the mind to go any further. And that is why people stop there. What does the sound take shape then? What happened to the sound? It's still connected. But we are living in a world of the mind, world of effort. What pulls us beyond effort? Can you imagine something that can take us to a true home, but effort is not involved? People talk about effortless meditation. Effortless meditation is very different from what we're trying to do. If you're trying to do, it's not effortless. A friend of mine, when I was at Harvard, he wrote to me, I have found out the secret. It's only effortless meditation that can go beyond the mind. So I'm going to try very hard for effortless meditation. That's how our mind works. We can't go beyond that. The only thing that can take us beyond, and I repeat, the only thing that can take us beyond is something that is beyond and pulls us. Now imagine, what is it that can pull us? Only thing that pulls us without effort is an experience of love. It pulls us here, it pulls us in the astral plane, it pulls us in the causal plane. When you're in love with somebody, no effort is required. It's just a pull. You feel so attracted to somebody. How does that happen? Love is the only thing that actually pulls us. When you seek the ultimate home, something pulls you up, pulls you from beyond the mind. Now, who is there beyond the mind? You are there, your soul is there, totality is there, but nobody else that we can think of here except such a human being who, when he is a human being, is actually aware and conscious of that self above. Such a person we call perfect living master. A perfect living master is not somebody who has learned the techniques of going in and come back to tell us. He does not come to teach us anything. There are a lot of teachers. He comes to pull us out from the mind, from the whole system of karma and mind and this, where we are trapped for so long. Therefore, his pull comes from there. We can't see it, we can't feel it, except in the form of the same form as ourselves, as a human being. True spirituality is experienced when we cross the mind, otherwise all mental experiences. And true spirituality is felt when we are pulled by love. What happened to the sound? If that pull comes, it is experienced right from here, in the presence of such a person like great master, who was a perfect living master. You could feel, when you were near him, that there was a pull. And that pull is unexplained. Sometimes the mind is doubting, and the pull is still there. The mind doesn't want to go, and you still go. I remember a man who used to come to great master and say, I don't believe you. I don't accept your teaching. They are all made up. All the gurus have made up these teachings for their own selfish interest, and none of them is true. I don't believe. Great master said, yes, everybody has a right to have their opinion. You have your right to have opinion. I have a different opinion because of what I got from Baba Jaimal Singh. Simple reply. Next week he would come again. Master, I don't believe anything you say. Third week again comes to tell the same thing. Master says, if you don't believe anything, why are you coming to me? And he got, of course, initiated by him, and he was pulled beyond the mind even denying the teachings. The mind creating doubt, he was still pulled. That pull that comes, it is coming from a higher plane beyond the mind. Love, beauty, intuitive awareness, they are all coming from beyond the mind. Thinking, reasoning, understanding, coming from the mind. They're performing different functions. Soul and mind are performing different functions all the way, even right up to here. Even here, when we have an intuitive feeling, it is not coming from the mind. Mind can only do something in time. It can think. Even the smallest thought takes time. Therefore, the mind cannot function outside of time. Love, intuition can. Beauty can. Those things can. Appreciation can. Those are words we are using for something which is spiritual. Spirit can do. Our soul can do. Mind can think in time, rationalize, argue. It can do those things. It can understand, but not realize. Understanding is different from realizing. Realization can be an experience of love, mind cannot understand. It's the love of our own total self, our totality of consciousness that is appearing first as a soul, which is itself is a cover. A soul is also a cover of individuation. A totality has become individual soul. Water in this cup has become a drop in the glass. Do you know how many drops are there? Small drops, millions of them, sitting right in this little cup. and yet they are part of the cup. Never left the cup. That's our situation. We are a unit of consciousness in our true home right now. The coverings upon us are creating individuation at the level which is just above the mind. We call it Par Brahm. Par Brahm means it is beyond the Brahm, the creative power of this universe. At that time we feel we are souls, trillions of souls, unlimited souls. They're all part of the same one total, which we discover when we go beyond that state of individuation of a soul, which a perfect living master can take us even there. There are many masters. We call them perfect living masters who take us beyond the mind. They can take you to a state called Par Brahm. That means beyond Brahm, beyond the creative power of this universe. But there are very few, very, very few, extremely rare masters who come and take us from Par Brahm to our true home where the totality exists, the one and the many are the same. It's a great experience. But only those souls go there who are seeking that. As I said, seeking is the secret. What you seek is your destination. If you seek your true home, final, then that's the place where the love will pull. What happens to the sound? The sound then you discover first time was actually your own self, was the soul. And that is why at that time we don't call it Anhad Shabd or Dhun Atmak Shabd or Svarnatmak Shabd. We call it Sar Shabd. Has been described as Sar Shabd. The discovery, the Shabd was yourself. It was coming, the sound was coming as a lower region from you. If you can cross from there, and for the sake of the pattern of creation, a big gap has been created between the knowledge that you are a soul and the knowledge that you are all one. Big gap. A gap has been created right in experience, and this is not in time-space. This is beyond time-space, so no description is available. Nobody has ever described it, but we try to describe it in worldly terms, in physical terms, just for understanding that there is such a thing as a gap between discovery of your reality, true immortal form of a soul, and the fact that it's not even a soul, you are part of totality. At all time you are part of totality. Now that particular gap has been described in some physical terms and has been called in our literature a Bhamar Gufa. That means a cave, dark cave. Gufa was used because dark inside. The utmost darkness. And it's circulating. Now, of course, we have to have a concept of time-space to make a darkness circulating around. Just example to show you the gap between Par Brahm and our true home, which we sometimes call Sachkhand. We give it a true name, Satnam, true name, true home. And we use those terms where totality and the manyness are created at the same time, and it's the greatest experience. We find out we were never separate from our Creator. It was all created by a process of consciousness using covers upon ourselves, and everything came into being. That can be realized through the love and the pull of a perfect living master like great Master Baba Sawan Singh. And there are perfect living masters at all times, so long as seekers are there. I explained yesterday that perfect living masters appear in our life when we are ready. When we're ready means when we are tired of this system. We had enough. When we say we had enough of it, we want to go back to our true home. When that seeking comes, then only these masters appear in our life. At other times, we can search. During our search, we can meet masters, we can meet teachers, we can read books, we can educate ourselves. There are many ways of educating ourselves. But when we are ready, a perfect living master comes who is not a teacher, does not come to teach us anything, just take us back home with his love. Period. But we don't understand that at all. We like to be taught. Our mind likes to be taught. So they say, do meditation now, do this, read more books, attend more meetings, do this thing. They give all these instructions for our mind. Mind becomes an obstacle. Mind is used to having fulfillment of its desires in this created world. And therefore, the mind wants something which it can do. It's always been trained for lifetime after lifetime. You can get nothing without a struggle. You can get nothing without working for it. And it applies the same rule to spiritual adventures and says, I have to do something. Perfect living masters who come just to pick up people who are ready for them at that time. When they come, the mind says, what should I do? What should I work? Look like the man who wrote, I am going to try very hard, effortless meditation. Same thing. We all want to make an effort to get something. We don't believe. The mind does not believe. We can get anything without our effort. So even perfect living masters come and say, make effort. Do at least 2.5 hours meditation. Put all your mind attention there. They put us to the route which I told you, earlier route. Then they eventually bring you to the inner sound and they say, nothing else is important except love and devotion. Love and devotion is the secret of spiritual success. They ultimately come to the same thing. They discuss the master's love and devotion flows. And we sometimes use another word for it called grace. Grace is flowing. Master's grace is so immense. It flows like rain. Like a torrent, like we had a torrent yesterday in Girona, I remember. Like a torrent, I saw it as an example, physical example of how Master's grace, Master's love flows to us. It flows in torrents. Why don't we feel it? Well, if I had this cup, empty cup, and I put it upside down in that big rain, it will still remain empty. If I turn the cup around a little bit, a few drops will go in. If I make it straight, it will get filled up in no time. We have a cup of our attention. When we turn the cup of attention toward that ray of grace, it will get filled up. If we are so occupied, our attention being on what we can do, our duties in the world, what we can do to fulfill our karmic obligations in the world, what is very attractive for us in the world, and the cup is turned that way, it doesn't get filled up. There is no difference in the rain, no difference in the grace. It depends on where our attention is. It depends which side we have turned our attention. So when we turn our attention toward Master, we can feel that love will get filled up. The grace comes up. Eventually we come to a conclusion, it's a very strange conclusion we come to, that the effort that we made, the idea of making effort was also part of grace. That the mind would not have made effort at all. Mind does not want to make effort towards something that it cannot see, closes eyes, is dark. Mind will not make effort for that. Mind wants to make effort to get things in this world, in the created universe. Therefore, that a mind is able to turn around to make an effort towards spiritual truths itself is grace. So grace starts from the very first day when we seek. Grace starts when we make effort. Grace starts when we find effort has no value. Grace starts when we accept grace. And grace is at the end the only way we get anything. But we don't see it like that. But we experience it like that. So that is why the principle that if love and devotion are going to pull us beyond, where can we experience it? That love which is coming not from the physical bodies, not from the sense perceptions, not from the mind, not made up love, but true love that pulls. It can come from beyond the mind. And when we meet a human being who is pulling us with that love, he is doing it not from here. He is not doing it from the physical plane. He is not doing it from astral or causal planes. He is doing it from the true home of which he is aware even when he is sitting amongst us as a physical body. That's the beauty of a perfect living master. They are very rare because seekers are very rare for that kind of experience. But when the seeking is for that, they appear by coincidence into our life. And by strange, somebody tells somebody, we read a book, we read something else, they come. I remember a man who told me, somebody has recommended I should go and meet a master who initiates us and we can go to higher regions of experiences. And he gave me a book called The Path of the Masters by Dr. Julian Johnson. I read the whole book. It's nonsense. The doctor went to India, got so much brainwashed by these Indian gurus, and he's talking of Indian terms in their book, and it makes no sense at all. I threw the book away. I don't know where it is in my house. I said, well, some people have benefited from the book, some have not. Are you one of those who didn't find anything useful? It's okay. You can read other books. I suggested some other books on psychology and philosophy, which he enjoyed. After 6 months, after a year or so, he came back after a long time to see me. He said, I found the truth. I went to Master, got initiated. I said, how did you find it? I read the book, The Path of the Masters. I said, that's the same book. He said, I realized. I read the book again. It made all sense to me. How can that happen, that the man who was seeking something and found nothing in the book and suddenly finds everything in the same book? The reason is that we read a book, we don't read the book, we read what we have accepted in our mind already, and that hits us, others don't. The same thing starts making sense. Same thing about the discourses masters give. A master gives a discourse, some people find nothing in it. And some people get the truth, it hits them. They are answering my questions of my lifetime. Same thing is happening, and the same people who find nothing in the discourse, hearing the discourse after later on, they find the truth in them. That's how our mind is trained to sieve through every information that comes. The skepticism is built into the mind for the purpose of going through it and understanding. If the mind understands and thinks it's worthwhile, which is by grace, we don't know, but it's by grace, then the mind itself starts following. Great conflict takes place in our life. The mind is in conflict. It wants to follow Master, also wants the pleasures and joy of the world. Mind wants to follow the Master teaching, also has to do its job, where if he doesn't give attention, his promotion will be denied in the job. Mind wants to say, maybe there is something inside, I want to allow meditation, but then I can't meditate much because I have to go to my business, I have to feed my children, I have to take care of so many obligations. Big conflict, many people face it. Big conflict. The mind is trying to get something here, it is not understanding what priorities to give. That is why they say that there are 8 senses, not 6 or 5. 5 senses that we have are senses of perception, touching, tasting, smelling. Those 5 senses are the senses to have experience. 6th sense is what intuition has been sometimes called. It's not part of those 5, but is much better, much higher than the 5 senses. 7th sense is called common sense. Very uncommon, but still it's called common sense. Common sense is what determines our priorities of life. It determines what is important, what is not. The grain and the chaff is separated by common sense. And the 8th sense, the highest of all, is the sense of humor, the ability to laugh. The ability to laugh at ourselves, the ability to laugh at the situations around us. These are 8 senses, but common sense makes us how to create priority. If we can prioritize spiritual discipline, spiritual seeking as number 1, and everything else behind that will make a success of our life. It's a priority. Priority, we get up in the morning, first thing, what is my next step for the spiritual meditation, or whatever I'm doing, listening to sound, do that first. Everything else follows. You can little time or more time. Some people do meditation with their clocks, by time. And they are struggling, 2.5 hours doesn't pass. Every 10 minutes they think it is 2 hours and 10 minutes only. Very hard. They are tired after the meditation and get up and say, this didn't work, tomorrow I'll try again. And some people, in 5 minutes, are able to go in. It's not the time, it's the quality of meditation that matters. And what improves the quality of meditation is the very thing that is going to take us at the end, love and devotion. If we meditate here, starting with love and devotion, we are already laying the good foundation for what will happen later on, what will happen later. So therefore, love and devotion should be essential part of our meditation, no matter it's 5 minutes or 5 hours. It'll make a big difference. To figure out your master in your own head when meditating, talking to him, like talking to a friend, talking to a beloved, talking to somebody you love. Every day during meditation improves the quality of meditation, but merely mechanically repeating word, mechanically trying to see something doesn't work at all. It's unfortunate that many of us have made even meditation into religious ritual. Religion has shifted from spirituality into rituals, and we are making even spiritual teaching into a ritual. By doing it as a ritual, I do my 2.5 hours every day. I've told many of you before my experience with a friend of mine from a place in India, Ludhiana town. His name, he's passed away now, so I can tell you his name, Hira Singh. Hira Singh had a foundry and a little small factory, and his house was just next to it. Large house, large compound. He was initiated about the same time as I was, my great master, same master. I was traveling with some master into India, and I have gone to several people who are advanced or knowledgeable or even masters. And we went to his house, and his satsang, a discourse was going on. So we were very welcomed. The master ended discourse immediately to have a talk with us. I said I brought an American friend with me, Hira Singh's house, to see the other masters. And we were invited inside. There were a lot of satsangis, a lot of followers who were there, began to ask me questions, starting with worldly questions. How is America? How is the West? How is the spirituality growing in the West? How are great masters' prophecies working out in America? And then some began to ask me about meditation. So having whatever I had learned from great master, like a sharing with you, I began to share with those people the answers to their questions. At one point, Hira Singh, my colleague, initiated by the same master, asked me, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Certainly." He said, "I want to ask you that you and I, both initiates of the same master." That was 45 years ago. We were initiated. This is an old story I'm telling you. 45 years ago, we were both initiated. And I have done my meditation regularly, 2.5 hours every day. I have followed strict moral life. I have followed instruction to the letter, what was given at the time of initiation. I have seen nothing. It appears you have seen something. How are you answering questions of people? I said, you can't know. I may be equally blank, but I've learned the answers, so I may be giving answers. And if you want to know how blank I am, ask my wife. She'll tell you. But he said, you have something. What's the difference? Why can't I have at least the same awareness you are having? I said, do you know, I'll tell you a secret. When people ask me questions, I don't answer them. I ask my master. Master, this man is asking this question. What's the answer? It's internal. Master gives me the reply. I tell them, they think I am answering. Don't tell the secret to anybody. And by the way, you also keep it secret. It's the master's answer, not mine. So, that's the secret. He said, can you ask your master why, after following his instructions for 45 years, I have not seen anything inside. I have not made any progress. I get tired every day after meditation. And I'm still having faith that one day it will happen. But 45 years is a long time. I said, I lost my master. I'll give you the answer. He said, go inside if you want to meditate to ask the master. I said, no, master is not so easily accessible. He's great master. I'll have to make an appointment with him and then take time from him. Then he'll give me an answer. I'll convey it to you. He says, how long does it take? I said, maybe about 6 months. 6 months? I said, yes, this is a very difficult answer. A difficult question to answer. The reason why I said 6 months was that I was coming back to America and was going back only after 6 months, I'm telling you that. After 6 months, I went back and went to do dhyana, because I had also worked there at one time. And I met Hira Singh. And I said, Hira Singh got the answer for you. The answer is, why didn't you do what the master told you when you asked the same question? You asked the same question from great master. He came to your house and had satsang, discourse in your house. He said, I did ask, great master. He smiled and he said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. And what did you then do? Then I asked another master after great master passed away. And what did he say? He smiled, said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. I said, I must tell you, I found the answer from great master. He says, continue your meditation with love and devotion. I said, you told me you have meditated for 45 years. That was not the answer. Answer was with love and devotion. Missing part. That's mechanical. To repeat words like a parrot, mechanical, mind is running all over. That is why love and devotion is what will pull you in. Now try that, not too late. I went back. Out of curiosity, after 6 months, I went and met him again. He had made more progress in 6 months than he made in 45 years. I'm bringing this to your notice because this is the secret, that the spiritual path which is shared with us by perfect living masters like great master is dependent on love and devotion. Otherwise, it's just a mechanical exercise, mental exercise. All meditation is mental exercise. When you put love and devotion into it, it becomes spiritual exercise. So remember, that's so important. So I am sharing these things with you. You are all seekers. Most of you have masters who have initiated you. And therefore, I hope these tips coming from my experience with great master will be helping you. We'll take a break now, and you have a nice lunch in the school. I understand there's good lunch being served. I didn't get a chance to have theirs. They brought some food for me here, but I may come and see you. So enjoy your lunch, and I'll see you back at about 3 o'clock. Thank you.